Welcome back to the second video of our series, Your Story, Your Impact. There's a quote from Georges Bouquet, an Argentinian author, saying, "We tell our children stories to make them fall asleep. Grown-ups, we tell stories to make them wake up." So what is the story that will make your audience wake up? Before we go ahead with the creation part, let's have a look at what are the central elements of a story. What does a story need to be a story? First, it needs a central person. Just think of classical stories like Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, Katniss Everdeen in Hunger Games, Frodo in Lord of the Rings. We always have a central hero or heroine. And of course, our protagonist need not be a superhero, invulnerable, invincible. It can be a person like you and me. A person our audience can identify with and develop empathy. And there is something that is really important to this protagonist. Some kind of central goal, a desire, some kind of motivation, something that he or she stands for or he or she really believes in. Whatever this is. Maybe it is protecting the universe from the dark side of the power, maybe overcoming the capital like Katniss Everdeen, or if we come to business, maybe it is protecting the diversity of nature, or maybe supporting elderly people being totally integrated in our society, whatever this is. And we have some kind of challenge, some kind of obstacles working against these goals, against these motivations. Because if we don't have these obstacles, we don't have a story. Just think of the simple example of a love story. If our protagonist finds his true love in the first sentence or in the first sequence of a movie, this is really, really wonderful for him or her, but not for us, because we don't have a story. And there is something that works against this goal, the central desire line. Some kind of challenge, some kind of obstacle, some kind of conflict, a conflict that may be in the form of nature, in the form of some development in our society, in form of another person, or it is inside yourself, the so-called inner conflict. Because if we don't have an obstacle, we don't have a story. Just think of the simple example of a love story. If our protagonist finds his or her true love in the first seconds of the story, this is wonderful for him or her, but not for us, because we don't have a story. And this brings us to what we call the dramatic arc. If we follow the philosopher Aristotle, a story is as simple as that. He says a story is beginning, middle, and end. And in between, something happens. There is some kind of change, some kind of hero's journey, if you want, some kind of development. And through this development, we tell our message. And ideally, there is a positive impact, of course. And if you remember the show don't tell principle, all this happens in a special kind of scenery, so that our audience can really be part of it, like in a film, can witness itself what happens there, can see what there is to see, hear what there is to hear, maybe smell what there is to smell, and feel what there is to feel.